wish someone had told me this before I started college. I made a $50,000 mistake that could have been avoided with just a few simple money principles. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another person talking about college debt. But here's what's interesting about my situation. Let me bust the biggest myth about college finances that everyone believes. Everyone says student debt is good debt, an investment in your future. Here's why that's complete nonsense. Good debt generates cash flow. Student loans do the opposite. They drain cash flow for decades. But here's where it gets really interesting. The people pushing this good debt narrative are the same people profiting from your debt. Banks, loan servicers, and yes, even colleges themselves. And here's what's fascinating about this whole system. They've convinced an entire generation that going into massive debt for an uncertain outcome is not just normal, but smart. This is the biggest financial scam of our generation, and I fell for it completely. Let me tell you exactly how this played out for me, and why I'm sharing this story that I've never told publicly before. When I was 18, I thought I was being responsible. I researched schools, compared programs, even looked at starting salaries for my major. But here's what's interesting about all that research. I never once calculated the true cost of the debt I was taking on. Not the monthly payments, the total cost over time. My $50,000 in loans at 6% interest meant I'd pay $555 per month for 10 years. That's $66,600 total. But here's where it gets really fascinating. That $555 per month, if invested instead at 7% returns, would have grown to $91,000 over those same 10 years. So my investment in education actually cost me $157,600 in total opportunity cost. $600 in total opportunity cost. This is the math they never show you in the college brochures. But here's what's really fascinating about this whole situation. The entire college financing system is designed to make borrowing feel easy and consequences feel distant. They give you loans based on your potential future earnings, not your current ability to pay. It's like giving someone a mortgage based on what they might earn someday. And here's where the psychology gets really sophisticated. When you're 18, your future self feels like a different person. The idea of paying back loans someday doesn't feel real. So students make decisions based on immediate gratification rather than long-term consequences. And this is exactly what the system counts on. They've created a financing system that profits from young people's inability to truly comprehend long-term consequences. It's brilliant. And it's completely legal. But here's what's beautiful about understanding this system. Once you see how it really works, you can use this knowledge to your advantage. Let me share what I discovered when I analyzed the financial outcomes of students who graduated debt-free versus those who didn't. The debt-free graduates weren't necessarily smarter or from wealthier families. They just understood compound effects. And here's what's fascinating about this group. They made different decisions at every level. Community college for general requirements, working during school, aggressive scholarship hunting. But here's the most interesting part. They realized that every dollar they didn't borrow was actually worth $3 in future value when you account for interest and opportunity cost. Suddenly, that part-time job wasn't just spending money. It was potentially saving thousands in future costs. But here's where this gets really interesting. Understanding compound effects in college finances changes how you think about everything. Career choices, relationship decisions, lifestyle choices, they all have compound effects that most people never consider. And this is where the real advantage comes from. While most people spend their 20s recovering from decisions they made in their late teens, the people who understand compound effects spend their 20s building on the foundation they created. This is the difference between spending your 20s paying for your past or investing in your future. And here's what's fascinating about this perspective. The students who understand this don't just graduate with less debt. They graduate with a completely different relationship with money and decision-making. Let me paint you a picture of what this actually looks like in practice. The debt-free graduate can take risks. They can start a business, take a lower-paying job they're passionate about, or move to a new city for opportunities. Meanwhile, their debt-burdened classmates are trapped by monthly payments, forced to take any job that covers their loans. But here's what's really fascinating about this dynamic. by age 30. The gap between these two groups isn't just financial. It's experiential. It's experiential. It's experiential. Professional. One group is building wealth and experiences. The other is still paying for their education. This is why understanding compound effects early is the ultimate life hack. The financial decisions you make in your late teens and early 20s don't just affect your bank account. They determine the trajectory of your entire adult life. Get them wrong, and you'll spend years trying to recover. Get them right, and you'll have a massive head start on everyone else. This isn't about being cheap or missing out on experiences. It's about understanding the true cost of your decisions so you can make them intentionally. The question is, will you be someone who understands compound effects, or someone who learns about them the hard way? If this perspective shifted how you think about college finances, there's a lot more to explore about how money really works. Let me know in the comments, what's one financial decision you wish you'd understood the compound effects of earlier?